My dear friends, I hope this finds you well. Are you a coriander person or are you not a coriander person? Some people, when they eat coriander, it tastes like a herb, like myself. But some people, when they eat coriander, it actually tastes like soap. And it's a very divisive thing, this coriander is. And there's actually a scientific explanation for it, according to the internet. There's smell receptors in our brain which actually very much impact what things taste like. And some people, the way coriander binds with their smell receptors, it actually creates the taste of soap, and other people it doesn't. It's a fascinating thing, and again, you find people are very passionate about, I don't know if people passionately love coriander, but some people passionately hate coriander. And as an interesting side note, or segue maybe, it's interesting to note that the Torah, in describing the coriander, describing the manna, it says that it had the appearance of coriander, not the taste of coriander. That would be even more interesting, but it had the appearance of coriander. And it's this kind of debate of what coriander tastes like, even though, again, it's not exactly related to the concept of man, because man only had the appearance of the seed, kizra gad, as it says. But this idea of taste, now taste can be different for different people. And that's a fascinating point when it comes to the whole concept of man, because here we have in our parsha where everything seems to start to fall apart, unfortunately, for the Jews and their experience in the desert. And at this point, we see there's a group of people who begin to complain. And they complain, they say, we miss the vegetables, we miss everything that we had in Egypt, and all we have is this disgusting man. It's just this pasty, nasty, soapy thing. Like, what do we do with this stuff? And we know, as our tradition tells us, that man actually tasted like whatever somebody wanted it to. Person had in mind what it was, and it took on that taste and the texture of what it was that they wanted. So it seems to me that the sin of the Jews here at this time was a lack of imagination. They lacked the imagination to, when they were thinking, they're looking at the man, it could become whatever they wanted. But because they lacked that imagination, they lacked that creativity, it just became like soap. And this is a powerful lesson, I think, in life. Very often, we are where our minds are. Our minds and our imagination, we can actually create reality around us. It's a challenging thing, but our minds are incredibly powerful things. And in the service of Hashem, sometimes our service, our daily avodah becomes stale, becomes soapy, becomes, there's nothing to it because we lack imagination. And fortunately, often kind of a standard, monotonous religious life doesn't necessarily give us the opportunity to explore our creativity, to open up our imagination, to reach out to Hashem, to sing a song, to dance, to create art, right? These things are important parts of what it means to be a human being, to be creative, to be alive, to be imaginative. And sometimes we lack that, and people often fall away from spirituality because of the monotony of it. And here the Torah is saying, life is what we make of it. Truthfully, all of life is this man. All of life is this miraculous source that's or mysterious source that's giving us sustenance. And it is what we make of it. It is what we make of it. Some things, like the taste of coriander, it has to do with how you're born, right? And the smell receptors and the way that your brain is wired, for sure. But most things in life, we have a choice. And so please God, we can all use the choice to open up our minds, to be creative, to be imaginative, to seek out different ways to connect to Hashem and to other people and to ourselves. And please God, through that, we'll deepen our connection to Hashem and to ourselves and to the beautiful people around us. Shabbat Shalom.